Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMtrading. Today is June 1st, 2021, and today is Tuesday morning, so we're back into play. The vacation is over from the U.S. holidays from yesterday. And looking at the highlights of the day, Bitcoin perking up to the upper range. Now, looking at the major economic events of the day, just two events scheduled for today at 4 p.m. South African time. ISM Manufacturing PMI number coming out, and then at 5 p.m. South African time, Bank of England, Governor Baily will be speaking. Now, looking at the various markets, the US dollar is slightly lower versus the major pairs when we look at the currencies. In terms of the indices, still unchanged after yesterday. Remember, yesterday was a US holiday and the indices were closed. In terms of commodities, oil and gold both showing some strength. I'm going to take a look at both of them. In terms of stock, I'll go again last Friday. Let's see if that continues. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin perking up to that upper range, we're going to take a look at that as well. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trade. So we're looking at pretty much the first day of summer, okay? When I think of June, I know the official day of June is June 22nd, but officially speaking, we are in summer months trading, which means that there's lighter volume going into the next 3 months. Now, historically speaking, yes, it's lighter volume, which means there's less activity in the markets, but last year was a really active year to be trading throughout June, July, August. So, you know, the fact that we're in a pandemic, take that into consideration. Markets have been very resilient. The central governments have been really backing up the economies around the world. So I would still anticipate some kind of moves in the markets. Now we're looking at the Euro USD trading at 122.31-ish. Right there is our resistance-ish level. And so we just perked up from our low, okay, of 121.86. Again, that's a 40 pip move. Okay, that's really a hard move to kind of trade. Okay, we did have a big breakout right there, but still it's a really tight move for the Euro USD. Now we do have resistance at 122.67. So if you look at a 4-hour chart and a daily chart, okay, you could see that it's flatlining here between these two areas. Now that doesn't mean that it's not in play. That just means that my expectations should be adjusted, as this is no longer trending upwards, but more in a consolidation environment. Okay, so I have to shift, okay, my thinking in this type of situation to trading the range. Now, if you look at a daily, you can see it a little bit clearer, as we're having a hard time breaking this 122.67. Now, looking at the Aussie USD, also trading in a really tight range. GBP USD on that upper level and getting slightly stronger versus the USD. This is why it's really important, because if it does break out, and it could, okay, just because it's a summer, it doesn't mean anything. So with that said, okay, the dollar is slightly lower versus the major pairs. Now, lastly, looking at the USD Rand, 1370. Slowly but surely, the Rand is getting stronger versus the USD. You could see that on a weekly basis. And the next real support level is 1310-ish level. So just be aware of that this is just very mildly getting stronger versus the USD. Now, looking at the commodities, starting out with gold. Gold's been very strong, 1912, just hovering around that area. It's been a little bit reluctant to break down here to consolidate, which may mean that it's going to continue going higher, okay? Which is actually, we do have lots of room for it to go higher. Even $100, $150 higher is our all-time high last summer. So keep that in mind. Now, looking at oil, been very strong at 67. Right now it's 67, 67. If it does pop above 67, guess what? We could see it hit new all-time highs for the year. Now, we are going into the summer months, and you're seeing that a lot, despite what's happening in India with the outbreak of COVID-19, okay, despite that, there's resurgence of traveling back in the world. Remember, 90% of the world's population is in the northern hemisphere, which is coming into summer. So with that said, the demand for oil will increase going into the summer months, and production is at the same level, so thereby increasing the price of oil. Now, looking at the Dow Jones perking up to 34,530, just another 40, 50 pips. It's not major, but altogether, I do expect a little bit of volatility. And, you know, it really shows in the Dow Jones the first day of June, as you see the volatility already subside. Looking at the NASDAQ also, just trading sideways, 13,700, nothing really doing. So I want to see some sort of rotation in the markets, okay? And the last thing that really took us higher was Alcoa. Lastly speaking, okay, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin on a daily chart. Now, this is a Fibonacci retracement that I set up, and really the most relevant level, or the most recent relevant level, was this 30,000 level. Okay, now testing that level, we are at somewhat of a resistance-ish area at 38,000 or 37,500-ish level, which we did have that a little bit of a challenge breaking above. Now 40,000 is a significant resistance for it. So, although we're perking higher here and we're showing a little bit of a upwards trend line setting up, okay, I'm not convinced it's happening until it breaks this 40,000. Okay, so that's my target. Now remember, we are consolidating, we are trading in a range, the lower range about 34,000, the upper range about 40,000. So we're somewhere in the middle of that right now. So nothing really jumping at me in terms of giving us some direction there. But lots happening as the week unfolds. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.